In her wheelchair, Mrs. Margarita was making her way to the park she used to visit. She was simply clad in rags, with a hat on to shield her from the sun. As a matter of fact, it was heartbreaking to witness that elderly, crippled woman in such appalling conditions. She carried a tiny pannier with a sign that said, "Help me please to pay for my daughter's studies," and she begged for alms in it. The woman returned to the park on a daily basis, where she begged under a tree's shade because she was unable to work anywhere in her state. A young man soon came up to her and saw the words on the elderly woman's placard. "Madam, I congratulate you on your efforts with your daughter," he remarked after that. "Never forget that God is all-seeing. I leave you a bill right here. Though it's not much, perhaps it will be of some use to you." With a shake of her hands, the elderly mother murmured, "My son, thank you so much. May God richly bless you." A few others walked by, saw the woman, and sympathized with her. "Here you have, Granny, for your daughter's education," they added, depositing a few pennies in her little pan. The elderly woman was always appreciative and said, "May God bless you." The old woman's daughter, Martheta, was starting school at the same time that this was going on. Some of her students appeared behind her, muttering to one another, "Look at that beggar. How she got into the school is beyond me. She is not comparable to us. Take a look at her. It appears that at least one of us is taken seriously." Despite listening to her companions, Martheta didn't let their transgressions stop her from moving on. "Look, Mariana, you'll see what I do to disrespect her," one of her co-workers remarked when he noticed that she appeared unaffected by their comments made behind her back. After saying this, she silently moved behind Martina and dropped the notes and books she was holding onto the ground. She said, "What a shame. I apologize. I had no idea that begging people like you were permitted inside." Following this, the other students laughed at Martita while they saw the girl attempting to pick up her belongings from the ground. "Who do you think you are, eh?" said a classmate who had come up to her. "You attend our school and study alongside us, yet you don't consider yourself to be one of us. Not only are you the daughter of an elderly panhandler, but she is also confined to a wheelchair." Someone else among her co-workers said, "I would be ashamed to have a beggar mother." Their hurling of objects into the ground did not affect Martita. Rather, what incensed her were their disparaging remarks about her mother, who was in reality her grandmother. When she was born, her birth mother had thrown them out of her home. "You'll swallow your remarks because she's my mother, and I love her just as she is," she informed them. She then got into an unfair argument after expressing this. Although there were other girls against her, the girl was skilled in self-defense and dealt solid punches to them. As soon as the controversy started to stir up spectators, the school's director showed up and yelled, "Stop! Young folks, stop there! Why is this happening? Are we not well-mannered, decent people? Tell me what took place." "Mr. Headmaster, it's this troublemaker," Mariana said with the utmost slyness. "Yes, it's true, Director," said one of her allies. "Martina started to make fun of us, claiming that her mother was more valuable than ours." Thus, they started accusing Martheta one after the other. After considering all the points, the director sent her home that same day. Martina was sobbing, not because she had received unfair treatment, but rather because her grandmother, who she considered to be her mother, had been teased. Mrs. Margarita remained at the park for all of this. The woman remained where she was, waiting and giving thanks to the kind individuals who had left some money to support her daughter's education despite the intense sun that was burning her skin. Right then, a man in a suit and tie was walking past. He walked over to the elderly woman, looked at the label, and took a few minutes to reflect. He then produced a wallet. But just as he was ready to offer some cash, he abruptly stopped without saying anything. The man searched for a grocery close to the park and purchased some of the priciest produce. "Here you are, grandmother," he remarked as he led them to Mrs. Margarita. "It will enable you to make more money." The man packed up his purchases in a box, tacked up a homemade sign that read, "Fruits and veggies are sold," and walked away. With that stranger, Mrs. Margarita was overjoyed, and tears streamed down her cheeks. She was able to say, "Thank you very much," to the stranger. Mrs. Margarita now possessed a tiny produce and fruit stand. Consumers came along and paid a fair amount for the fruits. When she thanked them, everyone was overjoyed to go. She nearly ran out of her merchandise in a matter of hours. Just as Martina was about to meet her grandma in the park, A kid who happened to be her classmate from school stopped her and told her not to listen to the bullies. They should be in a zoo instead of studying there as they act like animals. "Don't worry, Raoul," Martina replied, fixing him with a fixed gaze. "I'm accustomed to being laughed at. All of them refer to me as La Limonera's daughter." However, Raoul grabbed one of her hands and remarked, "Martita, I've been meaning to tell you that I really like you for a long time. I'm not sure why you find such arrogant people bothersome. They must be mamas, daddy's girls, and spoilt girls, which explains why." He said, "You're a sweet and kind girl, and that's what draws me to you." Martina found it hard to believe. She had known Raoul for a long time, and he was one of her best friends. However, she remarked, "Raoul, I'm not up to par. Everyone is affluent, even you. You own everything that money can buy." Raoul, however, interrupted her and said, "That doesn't matter to me. You're a really sensitive girl, and your mother, whoever she is, has created a wonderful person out of you, and I'm genuinely interested in it." Martina responded, "Well, if you want, I can introduce you to my mother," as she fixed him with a look. "The person under that tree is already hers." Martina saw a thieving boy dash up to her, grab her money bag, and run off as she pointed to her grandmother. Martina began to cry out, "Mom! Mom! God, please assist her!" But now that Raoul had pursued the thief, grabbed him, and knocked him to the ground, there was no longer any need. Raoul looked at him, face down, and murmured, "Take it easy, boy. What makes you take from a helpless lady who is unable to protect herself?" When the robber spotted Raoul, a robust and attractive boy, he said, "Please leave me immediately. I steal because I need money and I'm hungry." Raoul snatched the money bag and spoke the harsh words, "You know, it's better to ask than to take. I'll contact the police so they can put you in jail if you don't return the stolen items and apologize to the elderly woman." When he saw Raoul was being serious, the thief responded, "Okay, okay." The thief apologized as they approached the elderly grandmother. He was then told by Raoul, "You see, it feels much better when you do things right." After stating this, he pulled out his wallet and handed the thief a little cash. "Here, get out of here. Buy yourself something to eat, and please do not commit another crime." The kindness of that youngster astonished the burglar. He accepted the money that was provided to him and just left. Martina revealed to Raoul that she was his mother after he gave the elderly woman the money bag back. "Madam, nice to meet you," remarked Raoul to her at that point. "I'm glad to have met you." With tears welling up in her eyes, the elderly woman remarked, "Young man, I appreciate your courage." Raoul, however, interrupted her and declared, "Madam, you will no longer need to beg in order to survive as of today. Yes, starting right now, your lives will alter." Raoul was the son of a successful businessman who built a sizable real estate firm through perseverance and hard work. Having been impoverished, all of his accomplishments were the result of diligent and sincere labor. Raoul's father gave him a little fruit and vegetable business after he informed him about Martina and her grandmother's begging. This allowed the elderly woman and her daughter to work and make a living with respect and dignity. Martina and her grandma were quickly blessed and deeply appreciative of that noble boy's and his father's kindness, showing great regard not just for their lowly social standing, but also for the value that the old woman and her daughter possessed as human beings. Martina and Raoul got married a few years later, and her grandma was still able to bless her before she died. However, she passed away content in the knowledge that her granddaughter had found happiness with a decent guy who would always love and look out for her. I appreciate you seeing. Would you kindly like and post the video on social media? We'll respond to you as soon as we can.